Have you ever felt stuck when it came to pricing your services? We've all been there. You finish up that sales call and you're trying to put together a proposal, or maybe you're putting together your services guide and you're wondering if your prices even make sense. Let's walk through the best way to price your services. Hi, I'm Caitlin, the founder of Upwell Strategies, where we support small business owners in building out the systems, processes, and automations they need to support them as they grow. And a big part of growing a successful business is knowing how to price your services in a way that's both profitable for you and where your ideal clients will say yes. In this video, we're going to dive into how to easily price your services in a way that works well for you and for your clients. Pricing services can be hard, and adding team members into the mix makes it even harder. The price has to make sense for the client, but it also has to make sense for you. We've done this process I'm about to walk you through with so many of our clients. And most often the result is that they find they weren't pricing themselves high enough to cover their expenses in the way that they needed to. Now they feel confident in their prices, both based on the value of the work they're doing and because they know it will keep them financially strong. Drop in the comments if you've ever completed a project and thought to yourself, I was definitely not paid enough for the amount of work we just did. We've been there too, but then we made this template in Google Sheets to keep us from having that experience again. Now let's get into it and let me walk you through it. So this is the template that we use to help when pricing out any client projects or new services. It has a little bit of setup initially, and then you're able to quickly and easily use it over and over again. And we have this reset button built into it where if we're building it out for a custom proposal, when we're done, we click reset and it just erases the metrics specific to that proposal, but keeps all of the other stuff related to our core offerings and category of work. So I'll just give you a quick kind of overview of it. There's a notes area, so when you're on a sales call or maybe you're mapping out stuff for that offer or project, you can just take quick notes here. So I filled it in with kind of like a fake client project of them needing a systems audit, operations strategy, ClickUp build, and custom reporting dashboard. It's a pretty common project that we do here at Upwell, and so I'm just going to take you through kind of what that pricing might look like for us. So the setup part is within the two tabs to the furthest to the right. So first are your project work categories. So over here we have where you can add in 4 categories. Ours typically fall into strategy, development, tech, or admin. So we're usually helping with business or ops strategy, doing in some form of development with coding, tech like setting up the systems, and then admin or PM just related to managing the projects. So whenever you edit these, it'll automatically update them over here in the category of work. And then the core offerings area is where you can put in your core offerings like I've done here, fully editable everywhere. And in the team info and rates, I've gone ahead and just put in some fake names and fake hourly rates for team members. And then you can choose your category of work for them here. So this drop down automatically updated when I chose those over in the project work categories tab. So now everyone has their assigned work category and their hourly rates. I always recommend you have your cell phone here. So this is me, Caitlin, and give yourself an hourly rate so that the work you're doing on projects gets factored in as well. If you aren't quite sure what your hourly rate is because you're the business owner and you just kind of like map it out, not necessarily on an hourly basis, take what your desired annual salary is, and then take the desired amount of hours that you should be working a week, divide it out between the salary, that many hours per work week with however many weeks out of the year you want to work. So there's 52 weeks in the year. If you want to take 2 to 4 weeks off, subtract that number from the 52 and then divide it out. And that'll give you kind of a rough estimate of an hourly rate to give you. You just need some form of number in here so that when you are building out your quote, you're at least factoring in the cost of your time in a way that will lead to the income that you want. So this is kind of the false team data here for this quote. So then we're going to jump back over to our pricing estimate. So the client needs these 4 things. So then I'm going to pick those here. So I know that they need the systems audit. So you see it's now highlighted. They need the operations strategy. They want a ClickUp build, which would be a project management system build. And they want some custom reporting dashboards. So that's going to be a little bit of custom development. So then what I do is down here, I'm going to begin to map out the total scoped hours for each of these. because all of these will require some form of mixture of strategy, development, tech, and admin. Now, they won't necessarily all require all 4 of those, so for those lines, you just leave them blank. So for example, and these are not necessarily planned out numbers in any way, I'm just going to type in random numbers so that you can see how it works. But let's say the strategy around a systems audit will take around 4 hours. There's no development work for that, not really any tech work, and there's some admin, say maybe 3 hours. So then in the operations strategy development, maybe we put 10 hours into the strategy. There's no coding or advanced kind of tech work involved, and then there's some admin and PM. For the project management build, we'll have some strategy around how their ClickUp system should be structured and built out, so there will be a few strategy hours there. There won't really be any advanced development to be doing, and then most of it will be tech. So we'll say maybe 20 hours on building it, and about 5 on admin and just project management of it. Then down here with the custom development integrations, that's for their custom reporting dashboards, pulling in data from more than just their ClickUp build. Then we will have a little bit of strategy, a little bit of admin and tech. Most of it will probably be development hours, then maybe a few hours of tech with some testing and refining of things. So now we have all of our hours in here. So now if you scroll over, you'll see where it's totaled out our total project hour breakdown across all of the groups. And then we have our business's project hourly rates. So over here you have your team rates, but this is what your typical hourly rate is per work category as a business, as your agency, that type of thing. So then it's pulling together your projected labor quote per category based off of your business's hourly rates. And then down here, you're gonna put in your desired profit margin. So everything in this kind of beige color automatically calculates for you, and you don't need to worry about it. You can edit these to whatever your hourly rates are for those work categories. So then it's adding it up here. So your total projected cost is $10,350, but we want to make sure we're ironing in a little bit of profit there, both just for good business practices and in case there ends up being a few overages with hours, and like if the developer takes a little more than 18 hours to get the dashboards where they need to be, that kind of thing. So then you can put your percentage here. Right now it just has 20 to 30%, and this gives you that range for you to kind of figure out what number feels comfortable for you, and also for some negotiation room when sending the proposal to your client. But before you just pick a number here and maybe pick right in the middle at 13,000 and send it to your client, you'll want to click into the project planning, team, and profitability. This is where the information you put in your team info and rates comes in handy. Because what we're going to do is we're going to map out what team member is working on what parts of this project and how much work am I scoping for them to do. Because then when you are talking to your team member about it, you can say, hey, we've estimated 4 hours for you to work on this. Like, you know, please don't go over that, and if you do, have a conversation with me. So what we're going to do is we're going to, looking at our range that's automatically pulled in from our pricing estimate, we're going to say we want to price this at $13,000. So now you'll see my projected profit and loss automatically updated to a nice, pretty green color to tell me that I am in the green. I'm profitable with this project, but we actually haven't mapped out any team members yet. So now we're going to map out which team member is working on which project. This makes it where by the time you send this quote to the client, you know that you will be profitable with it, that you have some wiggle room in case some of your team members take longer than expected, and you're already very clear on what you have planned for each team member to do and how much time they can work on it. So then once the client signs and accepts that proposal, you can very easily go into your project management tool, assign out the project, and put in the the hourly estimates of like, hey, Caitlin, you're gonna do the systems audit, you have 4 hours to work on this, like, please let me know if you need to go over, but we're estimating 4 hours for you to do that. So over here, we'll choose our team members. And then you'll type it in, and you'll see over here this updated to show that there's 0 hours left. So it helps you when you're mapping out your projects. So then we also know we still have 3 hours for admin PM. So we'll pick our admin person and put 3. Now, while you have your work categories for your team here, a lot of times with small businesses, people wear multiple hats. So there might be instances where we're mapping out for maybe Kevin is also going to start doing some tech work. So you can choose this here and it applies the hours to the appropriate category when you're seeing how many hours you have remaining. And then it's going to automatically tell you the budgeted cost per team member based on their team info and rates here, and then your total budgeted cost for that specific offer. So we're just going to move down the rest of this. So we have our operations strategy here. So we have some strategy time, and we'll have Kevin doing some admin work again. And then our project management build, and you'll also see the offers and scope over here in column B. It's only showing those that you selected on the pricing estimate. So when you check these boxes, it's automatically populating this here with what offerings you're actually doing for them, so that you're only mapping out for your team exactly what you're doing for this project. So in the project management build, we'll have some strategy. Susie's not doing any development, but Rebecca will be doing some tech work, and Kevin will be doing some admin. Now right here, I have it where we're using all of the hours. One way you could also price this is we could say, hey, we're trying to build the ClickUp build in 15 hours, leaving a 5-hour wiggle room in case more time needs to go into it later. And so then you're originally kind of budgeting a little bit of wiggle room that way as well. And then on our custom development, we'll have some strategy, some development, some tech, and some admin. And we'll say 2 here. We're gonna budget 16 development hours to leave 2 for some extra testing or debugging. And then we'll budget 2 for tech for what her role will be in supporting Susie, and 2 for admin. So that's leaving a little bit of wiggle room because as any coder knows, there's usually some extra time in there for debugging that's not necessarily originally accounted for. So now I've mapped out everything, and you'll see we're still in the green. So we're quoting 13,000, we're budgeting total wages of around 5. So that's giving you a pretty decent wiggle room to, use up these other hours that we didn't actually budget out. So we could also change these if we wanted to like max out what we were quoting. Oops, this one. And you'll see that total labor went up some. And now if I was to change this to say 40, not that we would spend 40 on that, but you'll see now it's yellow. It's showing your projected profit and loss here. So we'll change that back to 4. So you're seeing a total cost of around 5,400 with a projected profit of 7,600 remaining. And that's pretty healthy because that's leaving you space for you to cover your business operating expenses. It gives some wiggle room in case there are overages with any of your team members needing to work more time on this project than originally planned. It also gives you wiggle room to lower the quote if you want. So instead of 13,000, maybe you would rather do 12,500. It'll update and you'll see what your new projected profit and loss is. So that's how we use this. And then if we're done and we send a proposal to the client that outlines these deliverables and the price we've chosen, you can come in here and click reset. And then it'll populate saying, are you sure you want to clear all inputted data so that you don't accidentally click the reset button? You click OK. And it's going to go through and delete out all of the hours you added. You see we still have our hourly rates here. It removed all of the team planning here, so it's all reset for you to go again. We still have our team info, we still have our work categories, and the pricing page is ready to go. If you're interested in having the tool we used today to use it when pricing out your next project or service, the link to that is available in the description. Thank you for learning with me today as we priced out a client project. Please subscribe to our channel to get more tips and trainings as we release more videos.